Hi, I'm Victoria. I'm a child psychiatrist, parent coach, and educator, and I'm also a mum. And I'm answering some parent questions using the four essentials. And today I'm going to be thinking about motivating our kids to do school work from home because obviously we're all in lockdown, and I know it's something that people ask me about all the time. And if you're a parent who's interested how to help your child get a bit more motivated with work, please do listen to this video because I'll be covering it, thinking about the four essentials, how we can kind of use the different aspects to support our kids. Now, if you haven't already subscribed to my email list, please do. I always send out a weekly email with a blog article or a video like this so you'll never miss anything out. And of course, please do join my community group. It's free and I do live Q&As and answer questions. It's just a really nice group where parents can ask questions and chat to each other and to me. And I really love having people there who just want a little bit of support and just have a nice place to come to and think about parenting. So please do join that. Otherwise, stay tuned and I will talk about how to help our kids get motivated for work at home. In this video, I'm going to start with boundaries and frameworks because even though I usually start safe base, but I think here really that's what we're thinking about, and it can feel like that for parents. You're setting lots of boundaries. It can feel like you're just making them do stuff that they don't want to do. And I think the first place to start is actually what are your values about schoolwork? Because there'll be some parents who feel really strongly that kids absolutely must continue to do schoolwork. Education is really important, and you have to kind of push through. And for other parents, it'll be really different, and they'll feel that actually it's a good opportunity to do some other things that school doesn't teach you. And I think the first thing is to identify where you're at and even speak to your child about that. Because actually, if you are never going to be someone who's going to push them really hard, then they need to know that. And they might have a different set of values. They might go to a school where they really push work and actually they want to be really good academically. So, really having that discussion with them about how much you're going to be pushing them and how much they need to make a decision about what they're doing and what they would like to do about that is really important. And once you've identified that, you can start to set some boundaries about what your expectations are. Do you expect them to do a certain number of subjects a day, or do you expect them to do a certain amount of time a day? Do you expect them to do it at certain times, or can they choose exactly when they do that work? Do they have to attend all the online sessions, or do you feel actually it's okay for them not to do that? So really establish that with your child so they can understand what your expectations are, because I think that's a really good place to start. I think sometimes it'd be confusing for kids, especially in a situation where perhaps the school is really wanting your child to attend everything, and actually you're a parent who maybe doesn't feel that's the best way forward, or maybe your child doesn't really get on with online learning and you want to use that time in a more creative way, learning maybe the same topics. So I think when there's sort of mixed messages for the kid, it becomes really hard to get motivated. So definitely work that out, and once you've worked it out between you, set some boundaries that reflect that really. Second thing I'm going to think about is sensitivity. So really understanding what does your child do best with? Are there best times of day that they're, better at working? Can the timetable be adjusted so that they can do the things they find the hardest at the times that are best for them? And really understanding about how far to push them and what they do best with when they're being pushed. Some children do really well with understanding that they don't know something and they want to know about that. Some children do need quite a lot of praise to kind of move past those bits where they don't understand things. Some really need to kind of go back further than maybe you think, like they need to go right to the basics and then build things up again if they're feeling really unsure. So really getting a sense of that and working with that and trying to do the hard bits at the times of the day when they're just more likely to concentrate more. All children will have times of the day where they do better. For some children it's the first thing, for some kids it will be just before lunch. It's really understanding your child, and if you can, actually using those times very specifically and speaking to them about that and saying, look, I know you find maths really hard, and actually what I notice is you focus best first thing in the morning, so let's just get it out of the way, let's just do it, get out of the way, set a really short amount of time so they know they're not in for hours and hours of maths, and whatever gets done in that time gets done, and that's it, you do it, and they know that it's over and you can move on to the nicer things that they enjoy. And of course, spacing those difficult subjects out with things that they enjoy doing, also a really great way to get them motivated. Going back to the safe base, really thinking, have they got somewhere safe to work, really, somewhere that's comfortable, somewhere where they have access to the things that they need, so that it's not sort of a little bit haphazard and actually people are running around and you have smaller siblings who might be, joining on the back of Zoom or whatever it is. So actually really creating a space for them where they feel like this is the space that I do work can work very well. So that kind of division of this is my house where I have fun and I might play with my siblings or spend time with my parents, and actually this corner, this table, this bit is mine, and when I'm doing the work, then that's where I'm doing it, and it's a very separate bit of the house or their room. So somehow it kind of segregated out so they know that's the place where they do work. Because what will happen is it'll start to anchor the idea that's where you do work in there, and they'll just feel like that's kind of the place for work to happen, and it'll become easier to do that. And obviously, not having interruptions, kids can get so kind of embarrassed about having interruptions from smaller siblings or something like that, especially when they are feeling quite self-conscious. For sort of older kids going into teens, it can feel really quite horrible for them. So just creating that safe space for them to do the work in. And then last but not least, thinking about the nurture. So definitely having some very fun lessons in there, depending on what your child likes, can be anything they like, whether it is or isn't on the curriculum. Just fit them in. It's a great time for us as parents, if you are around to do some homeschooling, to really have, even if they're short, just 15-20 minute sessions, them doing what they like. It might be exercise, it might be something crafty, and it might be doing a bit of reading together. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be something really different, like learning how to create videos, or learning to write music or learning to record music, can be anything creative at all. But if you can start to pepper those, especially in between the really hard lessons, it just gives them something to look forward to, and you have fun together with them. So that's the other thing, is don't just say, okay, well, you're going to get that time to do the thing you want. Actually do the fun thing with them, especially if you're doing the teaching of the hard things, and if actually having to help them out quite a lot with that, so that they don't just start to think of you as a parent who makes it hard for them to learn their English, and kind of batters them and going, you must learn this English, with a book. It's really all about helping them see that, yes, you do have to assume that teacher role, and maybe that's not how your relationship has been before, but you're still someone who'll have fun with them as well, and kind of balancing out that perhaps being a bit stricter with some of the harder stuff, with still enjoying things with them. So I think that balance, kind of, that's one of the things that I've personally found really hard, balancing the relationship between being a teacher but also at the same time trying to have some fun. And the nice thing about homeschooling is you can put it in the timetable, and you've put that time in there to make sure that sort of fun stuff happens. So hopefully you found this video helpful. There's always content every week on my both through my email list and also in the community group that I have. Please do join them. I would love to see you there.